Now may be a great time to rediscover silver. I haven't written or spoken much about silver over the past 2 to 3 years. That may be about to change. With silver now trading below $20 and SLV near 19, it's probably a very good time to start thinking seriously about buying silver once again. Some of you may remember that back in 2011, in April, we pre-identified $48 to $50 as a very good level for a silver peak. I know some of you sold at those levels and have probably not bought back much since then. If you have been waiting, now is a good time to really start thinking about buying again. In fact, I suggest you put silver back near the top of your watch list and maybe start layering into some new positions. You can do that by purchasing silver metal, buying silver-related ETFs, or buying calls on SLV, or maybe even calls on AGQ, a 2 times bull ETF on silver. You can, of course, use a combination of these methods with your choice depending on what is easiest for you to hold and whether or not you are comfortable with the volatility inherent in options positions. I also think an important element of your holdings should probably be in physical metal or a good physical silver-backed ETF like PSLV, the Sprott Silver ETF. Silver has lagged gold and gold shares this year, and I want to make some comparisons, looking at how prices have performed from the end of last year, 12/31/2013, up until August the 8th, last Friday. Nugget, the 3 times bull ETF on gold shares, is up just over 70%. 3 others are clustered together, with GDXJ up 34.7%, GDX up 26.7%, and SIL, the ETF for silver shares, up 26.6%. There's also a lower cluster with lower returns of Fizz, the Sprott Physical Gold ETF, up 9.2%. GLD itself is up 8.7%. PSLV, the Sprott Silver ETF, is up 6.5%. Then at the bottom, we have SLV, which is up only 2.7% this year. And finally, AGQ, the 2 times bull ETF on silver, is up just 1.2% this year. So to summarize these figures, silver has hardly moved this year, being up less than 3%, against near 9% for gold, and almost 27% for senior gold shares. So far, by focusing on stocks like Nuggets, GDXJ, and SIL that is, this has paid off since their gains have run far ahead of both gold and silver. But I do know after August we move into the best season for gold and silver, and I want to have more direct positions in the precious metals themselves. If you look at silver seasonality, the low often comes earlier than gold, at the end of June. But the big move doesn't really start until after the end of August, so we're not quite there yet. I have been writing in my diary about the possibility of inflation picking up in the second half. I think it is likely that because of the narrowing gap in capacity utilization within the U.S., and the fact that we've already had a big drop in grain prices due to a very big expected crop, I think the drop in agricultural prices may have already run its course. The most bullish situation for silver would be if prices are moving higher, silver prices are moving higher, that is, breaking the downtrend line, which has been intact since 2011, and moving above $20, $22, and maybe $25 an ounce, just as inflation is beginning to pick up. Then rising inflation will be actually supporting the silver price. That's exactly what we saw in 2010, 2011, when the silver price soared. And the stage may be set for that once again. I have a chart showing SLV versus CRB and DBA. And these show that SLV is in a downtrend, more or less awaiting CRB and DBA to turn up again. The silver chart itself looks bullish for me. There's a clear long-term support line going all the way back to 2009, and it's rising about $1 a year. SLV silver briefly dropped below that line in May and June, but is now riding just above it. The line currently is at SLV 19, and SLV may hold that level and give us an immediate rally, or it may break down again in the seasonal weak period of August. If it does break, I would expect SLV to find support around $18, which would be the level of a triple bottom. I haven't waited. I've started to build a position already, and I'm going to add to it in the days and weeks to come. My plan is to be near fully invested by the end of August, when the cyclical upswing is due. Conclusion. The factors mentioned are not the only bullish factors. Other observers, such as Jeff Clark, writing for the Casey Report, talk about how silver inventories are now only 25% of annual silver production, and that's down from 8 times silver production about 8 years ago. And he also talks about how relative to the cost of silver, relative to the cost of production, silver is now at the lowest level since 2005. That's almost 10 years ago. I think we are headed into a very interesting time in the next few weeks and months, and we could be seeing a nice bullish period for silver, which could last for years. Don't you want to get on the train when prices are low because the white metal is still out of favor, rather than waiting for everyone else to jump on? Well, you have an opportunity like that right now, with silver trading below $20 an ounce. Thanks for listening.